Before I begin, I want to let you know that I'll be discussing some disturbing and potentially triggering subjects. There are many resources available to you if you need help. The Carew Center is here for WVU students, and anyone can call or text the mental health hotline at 988 if you're in need. Please be advised and reach out if you need help. Hi there, my name's Ian, and I am a convicted criminal, a thief, a drug addict, a liar, a scientist, an athlete, a nerd, and a loving husband and dog dad. What aspects of your personality make you who you are? Consider parts of who you used to be. Consider everyday drivers of behavior in your personality. Maybe aspects of your personality you exhibited more as a child, but lost due to the nature of growing up. Pieces of your inner child. Perhaps there are things you chose to leave behind. Maybe you were forced to leave them behind. Contemplate these things while I tell you a story. It's the early 90s. I was an awkward, overly sensitive, unmedicated ginger with ADHD, and I just discovered I love science. My grandpa was an artist and taught me to think beyond the obvious and to be curious. He also encouraged unconditional love and kindness to everyone. I was taught to believe in myself and to dream by both my grandpa and my cousin Paul, among many others. Paul and I would hike through the southern Utah backcountry as he told vivid stories of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I read popular science and National Geographic and dreamed of becoming an explorer like Jacques Cousteau or Sir Edmund Hillary. I took things apart to see how they worked, even if it destroyed their original function. I was constantly asking why. A short time later, I started helping my sister with science experiments. I got Estes rocket kits and spent my weekends assembling and launching rockets, always considering weather, wind speed, and temperature before launch. I would rather read the encyclopedia during recess than go outside with the other kids. I never quite fit in with the other kids. Once, I experienced a bad instance of bullying after I left a ring for a cute girl in her desk. Her reaction, mostly disgust, caused me to get laughed out of school. I ran home in the middle of class. I felt ashamed for feeling my feelings. Later, I started participating badly in sports, which brought on more opportunities for bullying and more shame around my perception of being. I would awkwardly try to fit in. When the kids at school would push me around or beat me up, I was told to use my words, not my fists. I won a spelling bee and a district science fair. These were rewards for my curiosity, yet they seemed to matter less than acceptance from my peers. I got suspended from school multiple times for fighting back when I was bullied. So much for using my words. I also realized it wasn't cool to be smart or like science. I started skateboarding, drinking, and hanging out with the same kids that would bully me. I desperately wanted acceptance. And in this desperation, my personality changed, and my curiosity diminished. Fast forward to the early 2010s. I was a full-blown IV opioid addict, speedballing meth and heroin or oxycodone. I was taking every drug I could find to escape reality. I woke up every morning wishing for it all to stop. I attempted suicide by overdose multiple times. I didn't recognize the person I'd become. My will to live was extinguished. I'm here to talk about the potential of looking at who we are and who we used to be and using the parts that bring joy and happiness to create meaningful change in our lives. In the darkest moments of addiction, STEM helped me rebuild my life by igniting my curiosity and transforming my struggles into strength. Think back to the aspects of your personality we talked about earlier. Are there any parts of yourself you gave up for acceptance or to be loved by someone else? Maybe you were shamed for liking something that someone else deemed weird or thought you shouldn't. Perhaps you were pressured to grow up by your family or social situation. Maybe society rejected you or your feelings. It could also be that you identify in a way that doesn't fit within societal norms. What does giving up these aspects of ourselves cost us? What are we unhappy with, but live with every day because of whatever made us change so long ago? What pieces of our inner child have we given up? I was a good kid, raised with privilege and many opportunities. All I wanted was to be accepted and feel something different than constant shame and disdain for myself. I felt like I wasn't good enough and never would be. Who else has felt this way? I started turning my back on things that made up my personality: books, music, my favorite hobbies. I started acting in ways that I thought would be seen as cool. Has anyone here changed part of their personality to fit in? I made fun of kids for answering questions in science class or entering science fairs like I used to. I secretly wished I could do the things they were doing so unashamedly. My desire to fit in and be accepted was more important. I was betraying who I was. Drinking with my friends caused me to realize I didn't have to feel, which caused me to drink more. In high school, I cheated in the same science classes I used to love. I got a full ride college scholarship playing music that I lost because I was drinking. I got fired from a job for stealing wine. I got arrested and went to jail multiple times for DUI, selling drugs, and probation violations. I became dependent on opioids and descended into a spiral of self-destruction that seemed to have no bottom. I lost every aspect of the person I knew. I stole money and pain pills from loved ones as they were suffering at the ends of their lives. I sold my grandpa's art after he died for drug money. I didn't even attend his funeral because I was withdrawing from drugs. I saw my friends die, and I was jealous. I wanted to die. During this time, OxyContin was reformulated to be less easily abused, as were many other drugs. I learned I could find lab notes online for these drugs that I could use to alter them and make them injectable. I learned what drugs were soluble in different solvents and what effects temperatures had on the drug I was isolating. People started bringing me these abuse-proof drugs to make them injectable in my clandestine lab. I would take the majority for myself, giving them back just enough so they believed it was a fair deal. Now, along with serving a selfish purpose, reading those lab notes changed me. They helped remember my love of science and acted as a light in the darkest time of my life. Consider a part of yourself that you've stifled or given up for any reason. How can we find that part of ourselves? Is it possible to go so far in losing ourselves that we can't get that back? How can we believe in ourselves after years or decades of self-doubt and insecurity? I had another influence that stoked my curiosity and belief in myself. I was in a toxic marriage during my active addiction. She was also an addict. I was working at a local restaurant when I met a woman struggling in her marriage. We had an affair that lasted almost a year. During this time, she spoke to me in a way that no one else in my life had since my grandpa. She told me I was destined for more than how I was living and helped me truly believe it. She saw something in me that I had never seen in myself. She saw someone capable of anything. She saved my life. Who were your influences or supporters during a time when you lost yourself? What would they say to your current self? What intrinsic motivation were you able to hold on to despite your struggles? What does that motivation look like now? After a long jail stay with some extraordinarily scary people, I decided I couldn't go on living that way. I reached out to people who loved me and cared for my well-being. I asked for help. Many of my family members made it possible for me to move to West Virginia and begin my recovery. I left my entire life behind and came here with a duffel bag and a backpack. I was terrified. It was the scariest thing I'd ever done. I'm simplifying a lifelong, nearly impossible process here. But recovering from any addiction usually starts with recognizing there's a problem. Then you have to realize what you can and cannot do alone. It also involves putting aside all ego and pride and asking for help from someone or something caring, loving, and with more knowledge, expertise, or resources than you. Then if you really want to succeed after you've asked for help, you have to take it, whether you like it or agree with it. Sometimes that part gets tricky. Who likes to listen to someone else when it's exactly what you don't want to hear? Further, who changes their mind or themselves after hearing something like that? Most people will never face the choice of death or changing your whole life. But nearly everyone will face different levels of change throughout their lives. I would argue that most of us will not embrace change with open arms. However, with an open mind, I've found true growth and learning come from change. I can say after nearly a decade of recovery and fighting most changes that it's almost always worth the pain. I continually ask for help, even today. I've attended a regular program of recovery since I moved here. I seek professional mental help with problems outside of recovery. What are some changes you've made? Has the benefit outweighed the cost? How do you maintain those changes day to day? Today, as of Monday, I'm a doctoral candidate and researcher in nutritional and food sciences. I'm almost eligible to sit for the exam to be a registered dietitian. I get to mentor other graduate and undergraduate students, helping them discover STEM and who they are as people and as researchers. I don't live there, but I frequently think about the cost of giving up so much of myself so early in life. I can't help but wonder where I would be if that hadn't happened. I don't think I would have the grit, the drive, or the determination that I have. What are some negative events that have shaped positively who you are? What adversity have you overcome, and how has it affected your life today? I extend a challenge to all of you. Reflect on your life, one or multiple times, when you gave up an aspect of your core values, beliefs, or personality for anything and didn't take it back. A time when you turned your back on your inner child. Ruminate on this occurrence. Feel the emotions and remember everything you can about how you got there and how you feel about it today. Now, project a thought of what you think it would be different if you hadn't given up that core piece of yourself. Do your best to acknowledge and let go of the fears, doubts, and insecurities that are sure to surface. Ask yourself, am I willing to get back what I gave up? How would my life look today if I got that back? What can I do to get it back? What are some current behaviors I may need to change? Take a courageous personal inventory, then make a list, a spreadsheet, whatever you choose, of small, achievable steps that you can take to honor yourself and take that part back. Take the time for yourself. Honor your inner child. Become your own champion. Make that list visible daily and cross out a step when you take it. Celebrate your wins and ignite your curiosity. Thank you.